I mean, did you see the other day when Steven had the knee on his neck?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was getting kind of pissed off with Dave, and then he comes in and gives Dave a big old kiss.
He needs Dave. Dave is okay. Are we allowed to name drop on this? I don't even know.
You just can't say I'm told you can't say the guy on Infowars' name. I'm told the 45th president.
With what was going on with the mug people, I mean,
they
were. I don't even know anymore. Like, who can you trust? What can I say?
Right.
No, okay, let's just call them the mug people, right? The main mug guy, he's pretty funny. He's so quick-witted, like and when he gets going, it's like, oh, I can see the trend.
He talks kind of slow though.
When he gets, you're right. You're absolutely right.
What do you mean?
But that's the other fella, the funny guy, the comic guy, right?
Dave Landau, real quiet.
He's just slow.
Yeah,
I like him. He's hilarious. And he's got a punchline.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
So,
but he added, and I like. He had a different opinion than Stevens.
He is. He's like, I see Steven like hardcore right. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
He's conservative for sure.
Very conservative. And I'm not talking about Republican, Democrat. I'm just talking about like conservative values. Like he says it all the time. Like that's on our lemonade stand. Faith, family, freedom.
Yeah.
On our lemonade stand. I love this guy. And then Dave is sort of like in the middle, right? And it's like, dude, you keep going back to Chauvin should have known. Like, he did, in my opinion, nothing wrong. If this is what the book says, this is how we were trained, this is what we're going to do day in and day out and day in and day out.
Yeah, dude, with the information we're getting from the trial, from his own chief, from his own use of force expert from the department, I don't know how they're going to...
This is a bad situation because it ends in two things. More riots in the streets, which I don't care nothing about, because if you have weapons in the hands of good people, they're going to stop bad people from doing bad things. I don't care what your motivation is, right? You're an adult. Grow up.
Yeah, I'm fed up too. I'm not going to allow our city to be burnt this time.
No, I'm not either.
Yeah.
Or my home. Don't come around. I mean,
luckily, it didn't get to that, but it's going to be worse.
And then here's the other side. If he's guilty in the public eye, which is fueled by the media and this whole race-baiting bullcrap, then you've wrongfully convicted a guy who did nothing outside the books, and you have a huge miscarriage of justice, and you do not want your justice system to operate that way. You want it to have integrity. Yeah. You want it to be excellent. And you want it to convict the people that are rightfully convictable because they have facts that prove it. You don't convict innocent people because it's the popular thing to do. You just don't do that.
Yeah, I'm willing to fight for justice. You know, if it's so awkward. It's like in the Bible when it talks about they take evil and call it good. You know, and a miscarriage of justice. No matter what happens, one side's gonna call it a miscarriage of justice, and both can't be right.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah, and I got news, man. Any non-biased jury, with the information that they've seen, that I'm only going off the information I've seen that the jury has seen, not the stuff I know from outside the jury pool, just the stuff that I've seen their experts talk. There's reasonable doubt all day. There's not even doubt.
All day. Yeah. So my background cities are going to burn. Was in law enforcement, my education.
So you're biased.
Criminal law. No, I'm educated.
Okay.
I went to a university, got educated.
Oh,
no,
yes.
I read some books and put it into practice.
But you do have a CJ degree.
I do have a CJ degree.
Yeah.
Criminal law emphasis.
Yeah.
And I have a psychology minor. Not that it really means anything, but
it does for this conversation.
It does. I think it does because I understand the rules of law. I understand. I mean, we have the case briefs and all this other crap. I was going to law school, did a whole 9 yards. And just everything fell through. But so you have doubt, right? You like that's the whole game. Like you're innocent until you're
you have reasonable
guilty.
doubt too.
Reasonable
yes, it's
doubt.
very reasonable.
Right. And so you're not like you can't. According to you can't convict someone.
No, I mean they're in a shitty
But here's
position.
the thing with jury trials, though. That's the chance that you take. They don't have to. I don't know what. Now this is where I like my intelligence, and I guess when it comes to this, I'm ignorant. I don't know how much overruling authority that the judge actually has when it's like evident that the guy did it, the person did it, but the jury refuses to convict.
Oh, jury nullification.
Right.
Yep.
Or
that ain't gonna happen.
Or the other side of that is true, The guy is clearly innocent.
And they're going to hang jury.
And they're going to hang him.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to 100% all 12 convict him.
Which one's worse?
Find guilty. I think what's worse is being convicted on something that you're innocent of.
Right? That's the much greater
It absolutely
tragedy.
is, because if you're guilty, there's always a final judgment.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
There's always a final judgment, and that judgment will pay out, right? And now, if that guy who was guilty was found innocent, chances are he's probably going to do it again. And yeah, that's a bad situation for the next victim. And I'm not saying that, it's a lose-lose situation. But I think ultimately where you run into a problem is when we start putting innocent people in prison. Yeah. That's a huge problem, because
for any reason other than they're guilty.
Then we start arbitrarily changing amendments and say there's no absolute in the amendments. You have a defunding push of police. No, you need to educate these guys on proper tactics. There should be a uniformed way to use all forces of the use of force model, from the very top of lethal force all the way down to the conversation, your initial contact,
your verbal judo.
Everything needs to be trained out, and it needs to be trained extremely well, because you're dealing with people's lives and liberties and freedoms.
Yeah,
you can't F that up on either side. Like you got
Absolutely.
You are a professional, and instead of taking money away, you're only going to create worse police.
Oh, dude, right?
Not only that, but no one's going to want to be a police officer.
Why would you want to be a police officer nowadays?
No, I wouldn't.
Why would you?
I wouldn't at all.
I asked my dad that.
And so the question becomes, okay, so you see this progression, and it leads to a very chaotic, I don't know what we got beeping, but something's a beeping.
It's out of batteries. Go to bed, little buddy. Well, I asked my dad. He was here. He was a police officer for 20 years, right? And I asked him, "Could you be a cop today?" Now, this is something my father, that was his calling in life. He found his niche, and he was a good cop, a damn good cop. And he said, "No, I could not consider that. That's a crazy acknowledgement."
The bad guy hates you. The citizen hates
you.
Your force hates you. The government hates you. Everybody hates you. Why the effing F would you ever?
Yeah, why would you put yourself in, these cops have to go out and put themselves in harm's way?
Here's the answer.
They protect themselves?
You wouldn't.
Yeah,
you won't.
Yeah, you just wouldn't.
And you won't have a police force. And you'll have an increase in crime. Not because
there already
you took
is.
the guns off the streets.
There already is, man.
It's because you took the good guys off the street to fight the bad guy. Bad will always exist. Immorality will always exist.
But they're also disengaging. There's cops who won't engage with certain subjects because they don't want to have their whole lives ruined.
They need to find another job.
That's true.
Because, in my opinion, if you are a police officer, you don't get the option to not intervene and protect the lives of the innocent. I think that's a calling that goes beyond the badge.
True, but what if you do the right thing and you still get hemmed up? Look at Officer Darren, and with Michael Brown.
Right. So
Darren Wilson.
So you need to find a new job.
No, I mean, do you want to be Darren Wilson? Have your whole life ruined? Be 13% of the population's worst enemy? I'm talking about black people hate Darren Wilson.
Who's Darren Wilson?
Darren Wilson's the guy who shot Michael Brown after he was attacked by him, and he was one stop don't shoot. Michael Brown tried to take his weapon. He punched him, and he defended himself.
So there are other driving forces that would say don't be a cop.
Right.
There's so much. Cause you're probably, especially if you're the white male cop, you're the most hated man in America right now. That's a bad place to be.
Yeah, no kidding.
Imagine the anxiety, especially if you work in a big city like Houston, Dallas, Austin, Fort Worth, Seattle, Detroit, Chicago,
Portland,
New
can't
York,
find
New
cops.
Jersey, Pennsylvania. We could go on and on and on. Anywhere you're going to work every day, dude, who goes to work without? The only thing I think about when I work is I'm doing it because I got so many mouths to feed.
Oh, right.
This is just the way to do that. It's my perpetual servitude. It's my exchange of whatever for money so that I can feed these
hooligans.
Empty, bottomless pits of people, right? So, being a police officer is no different. Yeah, there are those that are a calling. There goes that I love the adrenaline. I love making a difference. I, fight the bad guy, protect the good guy, whatever the case may be. Whatever your driving force is, it's still a job that you're going to every day. And all you really want to do is get home alive And love on your kids, love on your family.
I think some people though found a sense of meaning and purpose where they felt like they're doing a lot of good because they're protecting and helping a lot of people.
I don't know.
Like I've saved people's lives.
Honestly, I don't know of any other reason to be in law enforcement.
Yeah, right.
Outside of that,
Because it was a hard transition to not do that anymore when I got out. Well, you know what that is.
we kind of still do it.
Yeah, right.
Like every time I leave my house prepared for any encounter. It's always in the back of my head. In any environment, I'm assessing the threat. I'm looking and I'm observing. I want to know my routes of exit. I want to know who I've got to protect. I want to know who's in my charge. I need to where am I going to position them? Like it has never left me. I don't know about you. And so going out isn't exactly fun. So when the wife says, "Hey, you want to go out?" I'm like,
depends. What do you mean?
What are we doing? Where do you want to go? Because I know it's going to be work. For me, it's work. It's never relaxing. So it never really left me because I know that in basically any environment, we're going to probably be the most effectively trained practicing individuals.
Well, that was my main argument for these. It's ridiculous to try to take a gun out of my hands.
Doesn't make sense.
That's the stupidest thing ever.
No, you should be giving me guns.
Everyone around me is safer when I'm armed.
In fact, I want to start legislation that gives combat trained military force, first responder, whatever, force protection guys weapons, firearms. I want to push legislation that gives us just open access within reason, right? We're not paying retail prices for things. We don't have limits on what we can buy. I think we should do that. I think there should be legislation or executive action.
I think we should just follow the Constitution and let everyone have that.
I don't disagree. We've got to start somewhere.
Right?
Let's start with somewhere.
Let's start with somewhere. I agree.
Boom.
Boom, 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 boom,